Hello and welcome back to a video that has taken me some serious time to prepare for. Now there are two ways you can set up the current Charge Blade changes, that is using Safi armor as well as the typical Kaiser Brachydium mix up. Now with the Safi armors, I'm not going to include them simply because you do get more elemental damage out of these weapons because obviously they're critical element. It's elemental charge blade after all. However, through a lot, and I do mean a lot of playtesting, I am coming out 2 to 3% more damage using Kaiser Brachydium setup simply because you're not getting enough element to make up for the loss of raw using Safi. They are still worth it, and against particular monsters like Luna you can get your files to do a stupid amount of damage when you can get your files off. However, I am finding, particularly in multiplayer groups, I'm aware that most people play solo with Charge Blade, but in multiplayer groups you're either whiffing or you're not getting enough sword hits in for you to be able to do your typical SAED spam. So overall, my vote on the Safi armor is I don't like it, and because I don't like it, I've not really gone too deep with it. So I'm not going to advise or put things out there that I don't use. That's just my general rule of thumb. If I don't use it, I'm not going to showcase it. So I'm sorry. I am sure at some point, if no one's done it already, someone will be putting up a Safi build set for it. However, from what I can tell, they're basically the same as the previous Safi sets, so from what I imagine you don't change much. If you don't know what you're looking for, from what I used, I basically copied the old meta Beatotus set using Safi armor, and that's where I went with it. Well, anyway, let's actually get into it, and we're going to start off with the one that most people are actually going to be interested in, which is the Kja Strongarm Ice. So obviously Kja Strongarm Ice, we've got an Iron Wall deco in there with a health and 2 elemental augments, and that's for your custom upgrades. You want to basically put everything in element until you can't anymore, at which case you'll get 2 attack out of it. Kaiser Crown Beta with a critical vitality, Damascus Mail Beta with Charger Vitality critical expert, Kaiser Van Braces with Guardian Attack critical, Kaiser Coil Beta with Guardian Attack magazine frost, and Brachydium Greaves with Guardian Expert. Wrapping it all off, we have the Frost Charm 5. Now you can, and I've seen a few people do this, with those 2 Guardian attacks, swap them to Guardian Experts. This will drop your EFR by a grand total of 1 damage, but it will put you at base 90% affinity, which does mean you can savour your sharpness a bit more, which gives you a little bit more with guard points. However, on top of that as well, if you are one of those weird people, I say weird people just because, you know, I don't, you can swap out those 2 Guardian attacks again for 2 Guardian Experts, and swap the 2 Experts at the bottom for 2 Iron Walls, so you get something that looks like this. Now I'm pretty sure no one has said this out loud, but to actually get Guard Up or Shield Jewel 2 in there, all I simply do is on smaller monsters, something like Kirin, I change out the magazine jewel, and against monsters that are a little bit more larger, such as Luna, I swap out the critical. This does net me a little bit less damage, but I'd rather be able to block her flamethrowers and novas and other really annoying flame bursty things that the game suddenly decides that I'm not allowed to block anymore, because logic. Anyway, similar sort of setup. Basically all we're doing here is swapping around Iron Wall decorations along with the Guardian Attacks and Guardian Experts to get the remainder of the other Kja Elemental Charge Blades. So for the second most powerful Kja Charge Blade, it is the Water, and the only thing that's changed here is just at base we need 2 Guardian Experts and 1 Guardian Attack, although that 1 attack decoration isn't really giving you much, so if you want, feel free to put in the Guardian Expert, and this puts you at 10% over again, just to ensure you maintain that little bit of sharpness if you wish to have it. Now for Thunder, Dragon and Fire, the builds are pretty much identical, minus obviously you're swapping out 1 elemental deco as well as obviously your charm. So we're just going to get through these pretty damn quick because setup's basically the same, it's just obviously now, we are using 3 Guardian experts. So yeah, anyways, just have a quick look at these builds. So as you can see, builds are pretty much identical, just the Guardian experts are prominent throughout. We've got no Guardian attacks, and these 3 are, although completely identical in stats, are the weakest of the elemental charge blades, but they still do beat out the craftable options as well as the Saphi options. So there is that. They are still very much worthwhile, just they're not quite as busted as water, and they're nowhere near ice. So yeah. Now in my opinion, because of the Kja updated charge blade builds, impact fire is kind of dead. There are a few monsters that it will still be very prevalent and work very well on, but for the most part I am seeing better damage numbers, easier clear times, better clear times, and just generally a lot more interesting gameplay using elemental file. But that is just my own opinion. So at this point I would suggest to all those charge blade players out there, look into getting the Kja strong arm elemental charge blades, as they are very much worth it, and they do work pretty damn well. Anyway, before I disappear, I'd like to take this opportunity to plug a amazing streamer and fellow Baldylocks. He's also a huge charge blade enthusiast, Cannon Fodder. I will be putting a link to his Twitch down below. His stream times are pretty irregular because of his job, but when he does get on, he does some stupid hours streaming, and he's always up for a laugh, helping people out. Just don't try and convince him to use another weapon, because he's convinced that his cult of the charge blade is like the way to go. But if you watch him enough, you can prompt him to do TA runs with a weapon he's never used before. I tried to get him to do Furious Rajang TA with a heavy bowgun. It was hilarious. Anyway, that is me. I'm going to be bugging out now, so have fun, good luck, and don't die. It's bad for the health.